In last Monday's video report, I happened to make mention of the fact that when underdogs bark like they did 2 Sundays ago, well, two things happen, and neither of them are good from a gambling perspective as far as I'm concerned. Because when the dogs bark loud and clear, well, sports books make a lot of money and gamblers generally lose their shirts. Because I've always believed that we are basically hardwired to gravitate toward the favorites. It's just the way we are as gamblers. And I don't care what anybody says, that's just what I believe, that we always gravitate toward the favorites. Now, what happens is that as gamblers, it's overreactions that we have to guard against. Listen, I've always maintained that you have to have short-term memory deficit, a little bit of a disorder, in order to be a successful gambler, because you can't let yesterday affect how you gamble and look toward tomorrow's action. It's why I always say that I don't celebrate the wins, nor do I lament the losses. And boy, have there been a lot of losses over the past couple of weeks if you've been following me. But the bottom line is this: the past does not influence or directly affect the future outcome. It's no different than that line you hear that they speed read at the end of every single commercial that you hear for stocks or mutual funds. Really, the past doesn't affect future performance. So last week, when underdogs went 9-5 against the spread with 8 outright upsets, well, everybody was once again crawling about, hey, you got to bet the underdogs. The underdogs are the way to go. Well, gee, what happened this week when the favorites went 10-4 against the spread? It's all cyclical, and you can't let the past affect the future. So if you're one of these guys that is constantly trying to jump on and off the bandwagon, if you let what happened the previous Sunday, which absolutely was devastating for gamblers, which absolutely made sports books a ton of money, which had sports book directors thinking that Santa Claus came and visited them 6 weeks early. If you let the outcome of those games affect how you handicap games this Sunday in the NFL, shame on you. If it made you suddenly get off the Dallas Cowboys bandwagon, for example, thinking, hey, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens because at 7.5 points, they're a great play and the Cowboys are due to fail against the spread sooner or later, even though you knew the Baltimore Ravens were only up 7-6 against Cleveland Browns in their last game prior. Well, shame on you. If you got suckered into playing the Los Angeles Rams at home against the Miami Dolphins, only to watch the Dolphins come back and rally for the 14-10 win in a miserable game, shame on you. Listen, again, there are going to be those strange games where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win outright and hand the Kansas City Chiefs only their third outright loss in their last 20 regular season games. There's going to be games like last night where the Oakland Raiders have absolutely no reason to win the game, let alone come back to cover. There's going to be those anomalies. But the fact is, the past doesn't affect the future. So just because the favorites had a great week this week in the NFL doesn't mean that the favorites will have a great Thanksgiving Day or a great weekend either. Because at the end of the season, when you add it all up and when you look at the last 20 years of results, you're going to find the favorites and the underdogs are right around there, 50-50. That's the bottom line. It's always going to be the same. Remember last year, Monday nights, oh my God, the underdogs were the way to go. This year, it always averages out over the long haul. Hey guys, listen, I've got a couple of complimentary plays for you coming up here tonight. One in football, one in the NBA. 3-0 NFL sweep with the complimentary plays on Sunday. Last night gave you a complimentary winner in college basketball with Oklahoma State. Let me talk about, first of all, in college football tonight, the game between Ohio and Akron. Now, there was not a line on this game until around almost noon Eastern time today, and for good reason, because you don't know who the hell's going to be quarterbacking for Akron tonight. You, over there, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. No, you're not quarterbacking Akron tonight, although you may have a chance if you happen to be at the game. Akron's got a lot of quarterback problems. Listen, their last game, which was about a week and a half ago, because they're coming off a bye. They last played November 9th. Things got so bad because their starting quarterback, Thomas Woodson, who has passed for over 2,000 yards and 18 touchdown passes this season, he could not go. His backup, Trevon Chapman, suffered a neck injury in the game. So the Zips, who their third-string quarterback was not available for the contest, They had to turn to a senior wide receiver who last played quarterback in high school to quarterback them the entire second half of the contest. Well, he threw for 139 yards, but he was also intercepted 3 times. Who is going to play quarterback tonight? Your guess is as good as mine. And Akron needs to win this game tonight at Ohio in order to become bowl eligible. They need that 6th win. But Ohio needs this win more because Ohio last week had a chance to wrap up the East title in the MAC division, but it fell behind 20-0 at Central Michigan and ended up losing that game 27-20. So, in order to advance to the MAC championship game for the first time since 2011 and for the right to play the winner of the Western Michigan-Toledo game for the MAC title in Detroit, they played at Ford Field, I believe, right? And hey, it's going to be Western Michigan. Don't know if the Broncos are going to cover against the Rockets, but they're playing the game at home. I think Western Michigan will win that game this week. But for Ohio to earn that championship berth, they've got to win this game tonight. Now, the line's about 10.5 points. Ohio has won 8 in a row in the series, has covered 6 of those 8 games. Akron has lost 3 straight games. At home to Bowling Green, 38-28. At home to Toledo, 48-17. And at Buffalo, 41-20. If you lose at Buffalo, you don't earn my respect at all. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games overall. They have allowed 38 or more points in 4 of their last 5 games. Now, the Bobcats have the better defense. They have allowed an average of just 23 points a game on the season. That means they're ranked 35th in the nation in terms of points allowed per game this season. Akron allows close to 36 points a game. The other thing that I think you have to look at defensively in this game is the run defense. Akron plays no run defense. Akron allows almost 223 yards a game on the ground. Ohio has a very strong ground game, averaging about 190 yards a game on the ground. Now, Ohio has not been able to get any consistent quarterback play here on a week-to-week basis, but this is an Ohio team that earned, my respect when they went outright as a 16.5-point road dog at Toledo last month. I got to lay the points with Ohio here. Minus 10.5, 11 points against an Akron team that has no defense, can't stop the run, and is unsettled at quarterback. Why not take the Bobcats? In college basketball, you got the title game tonight of the Legends Classic at the Barclays Center. It goes at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. You have Notre Dame as a 3.5-point favorite tonight against Northwestern. Now, the Irish came out shooting at a 54% clip in the first half last night and opened up a 15-point lead against Colorado in the semifinals. They eventually watched the Buffaloes come all the way back and cut the deficit to 4 points in the final minute and a half of that contest. But Irish hit all 14 of their free throws down the stretch to hold on for the 89-83 win to improve to 4-0 on the season, finishing in that contest 27 for 29 from the free throw range. Now, they are averaging 88 points a game on the year. Northwestern had a little easier time, but also jumped out to an early lead, just like Notre Dame did. Northwestern, who had lost last Wednesday on a bucket at the buzzer to Butler for their first loss of the season, took on number 22 ranked Texas. But that was a mirage, the ranking that the Longhorns had. I think Shaka Smart's team is going to be good this year, but they're a young team, especially in the backcourt, and they feasted on 3 inferior foes to open the season, and they were all games at home. Well, Texas started the game slow, to say the least. Northwestern jumped out to an 11-0 lead. They closed the first half on a 9-0 run to take an 8-point lead at halftime. They opened the second half on a 10-1 run. Texas was 13 for 27 from the free throw line. They shot only 37.2% from the field. They got out-rebounded 40-31, and ultimately Northwestern managed to win that game 77-58. But here's the deal. I look at what Notre Dame has done this season. I look at what Northwestern has done this season. I think Notre Dame at this point is the deeper team. I think they're the better shooting team. I think that they have played a little better schedule for what it's worth 4 games into the season. And I think right now Notre Dame is simply the better team. I think if you play this game perhaps 3 months from now, I think Northwestern and Notre Dame might be closer. But ultimately, I think the Irish right now are the better team. They have greater depth. I think they're the better shooting team. They're the better free throw shooting team as well. And at 3.5 points on a neutral court, where Notre Dame succeeded last year, playing as well. They had experience at the Barclays Center. I like the Irish in this game. Remember, it's a 6 o'clock tip-off, so I'm going to go with Notre Dame in this one. So Notre Dame and Ohio in college football are your two complimentary plays for Tuesday. I wish you well, guys, and I'll talk to you again on Wednesday when we do this one more time.